Evening, everybody. This is actually the 115th Tuesday Camberley Chess Club Zoom call, would you believe? You won't be surprised that we've got a spreadsheet with them all on and we've been adding to it, so we know it's the 115th. Started back in March 2020, which I'm trying to forget about it, but that was when COVID, of course, came along and we all had lockdowns and all that stuff. And I think it was a great initiative. And as you all know, we've had some very eminent guests on and lots of good local members and members from other clubs locally and from all over the world on these meetings. James Pratt is going to give us some information on Smyslov and his endgames, I believe. Am I right, James?
Something like that. This is a position from the 1953 candidates. This was the tournament drawn up to decide the challenger for Botvinnik's title. Botvinnik held the world title by sort of the skin of his teeth. And he drew twice with Bronstein, and then he drew twice with Smyslov, who did in fact beat him. And in 1963, he finally lost to Petrosian, who became world champion, the way that one does. Now, I have got this from the book Zurich 1953, by Najdorf, who was by that time Argentinian. Okay, so in this position, we have had 31 moves, and we are about, as black, we're about to have action stations. There we are. At this point, only a few moves remain until the adjournment, and both players had little time left on the clock. Smyslov tries not to commit himself with maneuvers requiring deep calculation and seeks moves that do not substantially modify the position. The Soviet Grandmaster, I call his players, counts on home analysis he will do with his second after the adjournment, by which he will, almost without effort and without risk, find the winning line. The tendency is easier to spot in closed positions, blah, blah, blah. Right, okay, fair enough. That was Najdorf speaking. Now, what comes next is this. Now, he's going to try and drum up some fun on the G file, I think, on G line. So from here and here. Ooh. Looks quite provocative. Now, what do you think he's threatening here? If even John Upham would spot this.
He's threatening the queen.
Yes, he is. Tell me in what way is he threatening the queen?
Because his rook is, the queen is helping the rook to attack the queen, and the king is like pinned.
Well, it will be pinned, you're right. So he's threatening, tell me in, tell me what the exact move would be. If in this position, if it was black's move, what would he play?
D2.
Yes, he would. So he gets the queen out of it, goes here. And black comes across again, almost as if he's teasing or making rather light of it. It comes back. Right. And now here again. Now here again.
So James, this is probably because adjournment is near and they're just trying to get to the time control or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So queen here. But now some action. Look at this. Ooh. 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 Rather than lose his rook, he comes back. Now, who do you think's winning, and what do you think is going to happen?
Black's got a better pawn structure.
I see. Yeah, maybe. Any other observations?
Black's only got control of the default back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Even if the queens are traded.
Well, yeah, if it's going to be so in this position, white exchanges yours, and then here. What would you play as white here? And how are you getting on, do you think?
Rook f3, so you can move the rook to d3 to at least, which
Activate.
yeah, although yeah, that bishop is still
Although black can play rook d7%, preempting that.
I think
yeah.
I
So
would do that.
Bishop a4 maybe to stop rook d7.
Yeah, that's a point. Yes, I quite like, except you might be losing
No,
your
the
c pawn.
pawn. Yeah, yeah.
Rook's defending it.
Yeah, I've run out of ideas then.
Well,
g4.
sorry, Julian, what did you say?
No, it's okay. No, forget that.
Okay, then. Anyway, he plays this. Black still has not captured the beleaguered pawn he could have taken at move 19, demonstrating that even the great masters trying to make simple moves sometimes commit errors. Get away. So the queen, here we are again, but he prevents the check by moving the king. Why not? And now more activation. More activation. And now here. Well, this is
Oh, yes.
now. Whoa. Rook takes. Would you abandon this as a draw? Ooh. I suppose that's fresh, a fresh attempt. Oh. Well, he can keep this fairly tidy, I think. Guard the pawn. Up he goes. I think white is holding his own, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or is he? Da, 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 da. What's this? Out of nowhere.
Hang on, could you go back a move? Might he want to stop the rook going to d1 here? I'm just thinking.
Oh, yes.
No,
I
king
think
c3.
C3.
Yeah, I just thought he could then move his bishop. That's no good, is it? Because he's still threatening the knight. But if you then move the bishop.
So
Anyway.
the bishop's on f3, and he played this. Well, he's not oblivious of the threat. So, and the bishop goes up here. Okay. I still think it's a fairly even game. Black is the great Smyslov, and this should be one of his greatest tournament victories ever. Whoops, that's wrong. I apologize. It was this. Now.
Sorry, James. Why did he not take just
He played rook g4. Wasn't it rook g4, James?
I just keyed that in, but it's wrong. He played rook g5, but if you like rook g4, there's no discussion.
But why did he not play rook takes h2?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because I would have.
Let's just go back then.
You know, it's a free pawn creating a pass pawn. I quite like that.
Perhaps. I don't know.
Rook takes h2, then maybe knight g3, but
it's so obvious. It would have been mother's milk to him. I'm sure he would have.
yeah, I can't understand.
I can't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah. Is it because after knight g3 you can follow up by knight e4, and then you're activating that piece?
Maybe. Maybe.
You are giving white some counterplay. If you know.
Oh, indeed. Yes. I mean, it may be that
but you can do that anyway, can't you, if you wanted to, without taking the letting you take the pawn.
So this is what he played, and he plays. It's slightly surprising. He plays that.
Old move rook f6.
I think he's answered with rook e5 check.
Yes, and the rook, and the rook falls. Do you see that, young man?
Oh yeah, because he'll capture the pawn.
Yeah, yeah, with check. That's the important point. It's check, and here it comes.
But why is he allowed? Did White have to allow rook takes e5?
Well, he thinks he did. Let's go back.
I mean, he's just played h4.
Yeah, you're right.
What does he have to? I mean, it is difficult to defend it, isn't it?
I don't think you can defend it.
Well, you say that, but why?
Sorry, I'm just going back. That's probably why he didn't play rook takes h2.
Yeah, he's going for the e pawn instead.
Yeah, so the
Yeah, I suppose that's more to do with the centre. So anyway,
Can you not play knight g3 instead of h4?
let's have a look. I'll look. I've got this game in other books as well. Perhaps there'll be some. This is Smyslov's best games. Smyslov's best games. What is this? The one against? This is the one against Geller. What move are we up to? We're up to. Oh, I don't know. 50. Let's see, 50. So h4. The pawn cannot be held in view of rook e4, knight c6, knight f4, and bishop f7. Is that clear as mud?
Yeah.
In fact, it says it twice. That's interesting, isn't it? Just in case you didn't get it the first time, it says it twice. Oh, well done. I've also got a book by Ken Wilde about the 53 candidates. Let's see if it's in that. White exceeded the time limit. Well, that's interesting. It's the only person that bothered to say that. So anyway, let's just see the end anyway.
Yeah, see how we go.
Yes. Okay. A little bit of background. So what was his last move? It was rook takes e5 check.
Oh, we got h4 first.
Oh, h4, yeah. And then he took it. Right. Okay. And I'm hopeless. I can't.
King.
So, here we are. Making his advantage material, it says. Finite. Here.
Yeah.
And now, here. And all the pieces are speaking in chorus. Now here. And now here. Ooh, this is hand-to-hand fighting, isn't it? Comes out, hits the knight, guards the bishop. Now, what would you do as black here? You're winning.
Well, you could take the knight, couldn't you? With the bishop.
Yes.
The question is, have you got a one rook and pawn ending? That's the question.
Well, if only Smyslov was playing the game, you could hastily race out and buy this book. And then you know.
Well, surely bishop takes knight bishop takes bishop.
Rook takes. Well,
The king takes knight, and then you've got the ability to. Well, you've got to pass pawn in the middle, haven't you? With the rook.
yes, the e pawn is very strong. In fact, what he did was to actually move the pawn. He went here.
Okay.
And White came back to try and reinforce his position. But after this,
Oh.
I'm afraid it was the end.
Bishop's Pratt.
Could
So-
he have done rook f4, rook e4 instead of rook to f2 one move ago?
So you want the rook to go to
That unfortunately,
Rook e4. It may not work, but it looks better than what you did.
yes. These grandmasters. So
that you end up with an absolutely horrible bishop ending with bishops the same colour, don't you?
So-
Wins the knight.
what would you do here after rook e4?
Just
Rook takes rook.
Rook
Well, you
takes
can
rook.
exchange rooks, can't you? Just
Okay, rook takes
Win the
bishop.
knight.
and then this, and then
The bishop takes knight.
yeah, I was trying to avoid. Well, I think you probably
How about hold on? How about knight a1 check before bishop takes knight?
19. I wondered about that, but
Like king
just
a2.
slamming.
I
I
was
suppose
just thinking if the king moves
If the-
across to trap the knight, then you got bishop takes knight, and then the king's stuck on a1,
What
Yes.
happens after king
Or-
d2?
and the king after
Yeah,
knight a1.
you're
check,
right. I agree with that.
e2.
Still, black has an edge, but it might not be decisive. But it's certainly you're only playing Geller, so I mean it's like a pretty easy one. So yeah,
yeah, Black's king could just walk over and pick up h4. I mean, anyway, what happened then? So the pawn went.
he resigned after the pawn went away.
So can we go back to that position?
He loses a bishop, doesn't
Yeah, well, that's why that looked like it almost a mistake compared to what we've been looking at.
Actually,
So pawn no, go forward again.
Forward.
Rook e3, king c2. Then you said e5, I think, and then
Yes, e5, which is surprising, but he probably he'd worked this all out right to the with a fine tooth comb, hadn't he? So
Yeah.
and now
rook
he's
f2.
offering those possibilities.
But rook f2 does lose a bishop, doesn't it?
he? Yeah, well, rook
That's-
e4 looks better, doesn't it?
Perhaps he was in the. It does say the clock had an influence on it, so it may be that after e4, Geller had enough.
Well, rook e4 looks better for white. At least he's got a chance.
yeah, can he play rook d3?
Hang on.
You can still bishop king takes knight.
Yeah, I suppose if you're carrying on.
He's not dropping a complete.
White exceeds the time limit, it says, but
Ah.
if knight here, this is what Neidorf quotes, he takes d4 check, d3 check, king takes here. Hang on, let's not go too fast and get excited.
Take the bishop check. Oh no, it's Black's move, isn't it?
It's black's move, but white's got considerable.
How about bishop d1 check?
Bishop d1 check now.
Bishop
Yeah.
caught in that.
He didn't like it. He didn't quote that. He quotes this.
Okay.
Might be as broad as it's long.
Mhm.
And now rook e4,
Ooh.
and the knight takes the pawn. Woo! But
Bishop takes pawn.
bishop takes pawn. Look at that. Even Philip Ware and Smyslov found the move. And here and here. And at that moment,
That looks better for Black. But
that's slightly better for black.
Yeah, bishop against knight and two
pawns.
pawns.
Right. In a way, the battle between Geller and Smyslov, they were both sort of in contention most of their lives, half of their chess playing lives anyway, to be about sort of 5th or 6th player in the Russian team, the USSR team. So there was always a bit of needle between them. Smyslov mentions that he did win some games. He quotes the games. Anyway, that's one of the ones I wanted to show you.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Should be a second one here. Save. No. Right. This is between Keres and Smyslov from the same event, the 53 candidates. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is it's a question of holding your nerve. You are playing the great Paul Keres, and look at those rooks on the H file. You know, don't look now. So I'll just leave this for the moment to, it's Black's move here. It's Black's move here.
Well, White's got quite a big threat.
Not many.
Queen H6 looks disastrous.
I know it does.
Hey, he's testing rook h8 here.
Well, I don't think he is.
Yeah, rook h8, bishop h8, queen h6.
And then rook e8.
Queen takes rook, bishop.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look and see what the non.
Black has to find a move, does he?
Here we are. In this position, D takes c4, rook takes h7, we've got that. And now c3, the start of Black's counterattack. This pawn advance refutes White's aggressive intentions. If he takes on c3, Smyslov takes back with the rook, and then he takes back with the rook, and then he takes on h7. Well, I wouldn't want to do that, would I?
No.
So in this position, Black plays this.
Yeah.
Now, if Julian was that's reinforcing the h8 square, isn't it? So, Julian, would you still want to go in for what you said before?
No, you stop that now.
No. Well, it was a useful point in as much that if you didn't stop it.
But
then...
queen h6 still works, doesn't it?
Is a bishop loose? Oh, wait a minute.
Now, place your bets. Who's going to win this game? Da, 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 da.
It's still a threat, isn't it? Rook h8.
No.
Maybe.
No,
Bishop takes rook.
Yeah, but then queen h7, mate.
no, you've also got. I think you've also got rook g7 check to consider as well.
Well, in this position,
Oh, good.
Black plays.
Rook fd8.
Yeah, he's got to move that rook.
Black plays this. But at the right time, comments Smyslov, now the threat of rook h8 is parried, and turns out that the tripling of White's heavy pieces on the h file has not achieved anything. The initiative passes to Black. My goodness me. I mean, this was in such a crackingly important tournament. 28 rounds there were in this tournament, and you'd think they played the old time limit too. There. Ooh. Yes, a bit of counter play. So he gets out of it. And now Smyslov, as he so like to do, offers the queens so she can go into an ending. Which
Sorry, James, just to go back and obviously, if we could go back a move, please.
Yes, of course you can.
And just see what happens. So before he played queen g5.
So he went.
So his queen was on h6. Yeah. So what about rook h8?
Take it.
Yeah, rook h8. Then bishop takes h8. Queen h7 check.
King F8.
King F8.
Now, you've got a bishop that can come to G5
Yeah.
at some point. You can also play Queen H8, Queen takes H8.
Well,
rook
why don't I
takes-
just put? Why don't I answer you by putting on my computer and just seeing what happens?
Bishop's not on. Bishop's on B2.
Ah, good point.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
That ends it. Not to worry. Yes, I thought I had an extra move there. Yeah, the bishop's there. Sorry.
Well, okay.
All
So,
right, doesn't work.
okay. So he comes back, as you say, and this.
Well, no, you can still try what you said, Mark.
Oh, sorry. I'm confused about where the bishop is. I thought it was on
Go
B2.
back
No,
one
it's
move,
black's
by
move.
black and white.
Bishop C1, black moves.
No, now stop there. No, you played the bishop back. No.
Well, hang on, gentlemen. Sorry,
I'm
Who's moving?
confused,
that is the move that was played.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then bishop G7 was played, wasn't
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
play that. Now
Yeah.
Mark is rightly suggesting that perhaps because our bishop's free on C1 and can go to places like G5 or H6, maybe we have a combination where we play rook H8 now.
Right, well, I'll put that into the computer then
Or play it on the board.
and see what it says.
It'll say rubbish.
Yeah, get out, it says.
I think the king escapes, doesn't it? And you're not actually ahead on material is the point.
Black is winning. Oh my God, it's carnage.
All right.
Black is clearly winning. Whoa. Can you see, gentlemen, what's coming up on the screen?
Yeah.
Assume you can.
So, but it's also mentioning. Oh, it did mention. Yeah, it did mention rook H8, and it was -7 or
It
something.
would have to, yes. It
But
would
can
have
we,
to.
Doesn't make the top four.
I think
I'm going to stop.
you lose the exchange, and you don't get anything much back, do you? And
Get a little bit of.
Because I thought you could win back the exchange with bishop G5
Yeah.
when the king comes to E7.
I think black has got F6. at
That might
point.
not be enough. Well,
and then
it-
you're left with a black pawn on C3 and an easy win, probably.
Sorry, I think Tony's just said it, haven't you? F6 works, doesn't it? Probably. Although I'm thinking then there's rook H7, but we're getting a bit too far away.
okay. Well, it's all interesting stuff.
Hmm.
So he pulls his queen out. Smyslov offers the queens. And white, sorry, is here. And now, what do you think black played? This is not an obvious one.
Rook D4.
No. Although that might be sufficient. Any more?
Rook D2.
No.
Isn't white threatening bishop G5 now?
D2 might be sufficient.
Yes, that's what he played.
C2.
He played C2 in view of what Philip's just said, because I mean the rook behind it. With the threat of what?
After bishop G5, you take it.
Yeah, that's not. I'm just quoting what Smyslov says in the notes. After C2, then with the threat of rook D1.
Yeah.
Well, bishop G5 is decisively met by what?
King G5.
Queen takes.
No,
No.
no. C1 equals queen.
Oh, got
Oh,
queen
yeah.
F2. Does queen F2 work?
Yes, you might as well get another queen, mightn't you, rather than.
Yeah, I
take-
read somewhere that's quite good, isn't it? Have two queens.
But I think
Rather than one
I
queen.
think there's
So-
a back mate on as well.
Sorry, Tony.
I think there's a back rank mate on after all the taxes.
Yeah, I think there might be.
Yeah, there is.
So here
Oh, just rook d1.
Wait.
Yes, rook d1.
Hmm.
So here we get this. This may be all roads lead to Rome now. It's blocked.
Oh,
Now what are you going to do? Young man, I think you might know. Tell us what Black should do. Our youngest member. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm just thinking.
Ooh. Mr. Sengupta. Where are you speaking from? Where do you live?
Oh, Sandhurst.
Oh, right. Are you in the army?
No.
You might be. Sandhurst revolves around the army, doesn't it?
Mm.
Okay, well, in fact, I'll tell you, Black played this
yeah, I thought that might work.
because obviously the rook can't be captured, except of course it can, because
But bishop catches and then pawn takes and then queen takes.
no, he doesn't play that. He reinforces the pressure on d1 by playing, your variations are correct,
Queen d4.
queen d4,
Yeah.
Wow.
and
Yeah.
then he does it.
Yeah.
And at that moment, White played, and possibly with some relief, resignation. So this is what Keres, who never had a chance to play for the World Championship, this is another one of the games which he lost on his journey, which ultimately was thwarted, and he never got to play Botvinnik in a match.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. That's the end of my little thing.
Nice finish, huh?
Yeah. So the original position still had the rooks powering down, but
Yes, it did.
Black's managed to guard it all by getting his queen. Go back to the beginning.
Yes,
James.
of course. Yes. I mean, if you were offered it as an adjudication, you might
You'd certainly be worried about.
I mean, if
what-
you were if you were watching your mate's game, or you were in the same team as him, and you were playing Keres at the height of his powers, who's got queen and two rooks on the H file, you just have to say, oh no, not rook takes f7 or rook
Yeah.
e7 check, or all these things would ring in your head, wouldn't they?
I guess the queen takes d4 we started. That was the first move, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I deliberately because it's not a fancy combination, but it is the triumph of depth of analysis, isn't it? Really, Smyslov had worked it out without trying to, expecting a round of applause.
I'm just wondering what the couple of moves before that were.
Well, I can tell you. I can tell you. Good point.
Probably both players were following this, and White was thinking he was going to manage it on the H file, and Black presumably
he took on h7 with his rook. And at move 19, there's very detailed analysis by Nydorf. D takes c4. In other words, that's where the c pawn. A curious position for the white rooks. Clearly, Smyslov cannot accept the sacrifice of one of them. So he gives very detailed analysis by Dr. Erver, who was playing in this tournament. Erver was rather frightened of going back to chess, and he took a teaching job, but they managed to lure him out of retirement to play in this event. He was by then in his 50s. And I think he subsequently regretted it. I mean, 28 rounds of chess played at the slower time limit would be absolutely punishing. But he did win a game, perhaps I'll look at it at some future point, against Geller, which was absolutely spectacular.
How long did the tournament last then?
I haven't got the dates at hand, but I could find out for you. Well, if it's 28 rounds, so that's 8 players playing 7 opponents 4 times, it would be
About a month.
couple of months, I suppose. I mean, you would need your fair share of rest days. During which time
Also played at multiple venues. It wasn't just played in Zurich. Am I right?
they moved around, did they? They sometimes do. I'm not sure.
This is in Moscow, it says.
Well, it says Zurich, Moscow at the top.
Yes. Well, my map reading was never at my strong point. I think whatever you do, it comes out with Moscow at the end of it.
Ah.
I'm sorry. I'll have to sack my assistant.
Perhaps it started in Zurich and moved to Moscow.
What you mean? A bit like Napoleon, because it was so cold. They retreated.
No, he came back again, James.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So that Tchaikovsky had time to write that.
Aditya's raised his hand virtually.
Yeah, I think there is a mate, because let's say you move your rook g7, and then
Yes.
the bishop captures, and then the queen moves h7, checkmate.
Yes, but unfortunately, it's black's move, isn't it?
I think he would have spotted that.
And
So in this position, well, he's just taken on d4, hasn't he? This is where we join the action.
Yeah.
No,
No,
no, I'm wrong. I'm
He
wrong.
moves his rook.
This is this is where we join the action. So this is his first move, which,
Yeah.
although it appears modest, has a very great deal to do with black square control.
So then queen h6, and then d1, d8.
Now the young man's suggestion of rook g7 here is superb, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he creates some space around the king, and it's also productive because it again strengthens the black square control.
Gives an escape square, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But you were right, except that we didn't realize
It's
whose
back to
move it
them.
was. Yeah, that's the point. Anyway, thank you all very much for your patience.
Yeah, the tournament took
Well, I've
2
just
months.
found out. Sorry, Julian. Yeah.
Tournament took 2 months.
Mm.
As long as that.
Yeah,
Did they
September,
move around?
October.
Yes,
Sorry?
they did. It was Neuheisen, Rheinfall, and Zurich.
So it's all in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Right. That must have been lovely for them.
was that an exceptional length of tournament even in those days, or did they used to play much longer tournament back then?
Yes, they
I
would
don't-
have had. They would have had. I suppose the 56 candidates. It was Fischer that complained that the Russians, which indeed was true, were cheating, so that were collaborating. Let's say that.
I don't think that was until 1962 in Curacao, was it?
That was the last all
That was
play.
the last big candidates tournament.
Yes,
in
by
that format.
65, it was knockout. It was knockout. You're right. Also, I think upon Botvinnik's retirement, it was felt that perhaps they needed to throw the deck of cards up in the air and just try something new. And of course, now we are back to, except it's a double round, all play all. We're back to 8 players and candidates, which is not knockout matches, but a single tournament.
And a world champion who's not necessarily happy with the format and is not
I
continuing.
think it's Magnus's ego that's playing up. I don't think his moves are playing up, but he's already, there's problems. I don't want to have to go into it. There's problems galore, aren't there, at the moment?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think this tournament was held shortly after, about 5 years after the 1948 World Championship event, which was a large all-play-all event, wasn't it?
yes, it was. I mean, they were going to have 6 players: Fine, Reshevsky, Keres, Smyslov, Botvinnik.
Yeah.
But Fine didn't want to play. He was entering the professions, and obviously with the war over, it probably cleared his thinking. But well, there may have been some good that came out of the war, and clearly in America, they upped their productivity, but were never bombed.
Mm.
So yeah, but it was, in a way, it was a stagnant time for chess, even though there were some amazingly strong players. And with Botvinnik sort of being the senior partner, but not necessarily the heir apparent. It needed players like Tal and Spassky to come along to liven things up, and Fischer to behave himself and also to hold his nerve, both of which on occasion he didn't do. Well, and that would have been 50 years ago that he played Spassky at Reykjavik. Anyway, there you go.
Very good. Thank you very much, James. It may be a good point just to have a break for 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
Has anybody got anything they want to show? Has anyone got anything they had planned to show this evening?
I've got one.
Oh, okay. What have
yes.
Have you got a game or something?
Yeah, a game. It's a game, a Russian Grandmaster and an international master, Eric Rosen.
Okay.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yep.
So, this was a game in a tournament on Lichess, Streamers Battle. So, white was Grandmaster Zhigalko Sergey, and black was international master Eric Rosen. So, white played.
Presumably this is very recently, is it, Aditya?
Yeah, 25 hours ago.
Oh, right, okay.
I've got a question.
Hmm?
It's got his ratings 2651. Rosen.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be a GM?
But isn't that on Lichess?
That's his
Yeah,
rating live
that's
chess.
Oh, right.
You don't get a title because of your rating. You get a title because of your norms and your application.
And in addition to that, this is his Lichess rating.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
online rating then.
Yeah.
But that's not the reason. Anyway.
Okay. All right. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So white played e4, and then he responded back with c5, and then c3,
Alapin, yeah.
and then he played d5. So he's trying to open up his queen space, and then he captures, and then queen comes, and then d4 is played, f6, f3, and then e6, and then a3 was played, and then
Can I just ask a question, mate? And maybe it's a sort of position that Julian might comment on. When he played e6,
which one?
go back a couple of moves. Yeah.
Yeah, he played e6.
Yeah, wouldn't it be better to play bishop g4 and get the bishop out before playing e6?
Bishop g4.
Yes, I've often wondered about this position. You're quite right.
I mean, you throw in bishop g4 and presumably bishop g2 and then e6.
You could do.
For these sorts of positions, you can end up with your bishop stuck behind that e6 pawn.
Or
Just
you
play
could
bishop.
play
Bishop g4 is made by bishop e2.
Yeah.
yeah, but we're not saying it's great. It's just a bit more active.
Yeah, well, no, not really.
Why
And they're
not?
very low on time because they both berserked on a 3+2.
Julian,
Okay.
what's the point you're making?
Julian's opinion on why
But
things.
I've looked at this line. It's good for white.
Well, I still don't see why e6 is necessary so early on.
It's not necessary, but just the way of playing.
Yeah. So then if I go back to, here, he then played bishop e3, and then he responded back with a capture, capturing d4, and then b5, and then
Hang on.
queen d8.
Hang on. Could you go back one move, please?
Here.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at. Yeah. Sorry. One more move.
Okay, admit it. You didn't even see the knight fork.
Yeah. I'm just looking into it. Yeah. I'm sure you saw it, James, 9 moves ago, but I didn't.
I did actually before they set the pieces up.
So takes. Yeah, that's quite good, isn't it? Knight b5.
Yeah, because the bishop's also helping.
Yeah.
So then,
That's unusual. I haven't seen that before, I don't think, in this opening.
yeah, because it's attacking the bishop too.
Yeah.
And you get a pawn still back.
Mm.
And then queen d8. And then he captures with his knight. And then knight d5. And this was an inaccuracy, move 10. He moved his bishop. They say this is an inaccuracy. It says this move was best, capturing the knight on that square. And then black captures on e3. And he captures back a pawn. And then e7. And then queen c2. h6. And then he castles on the long castle. Queen c7. And then again for the grandmaster, he blundered again. He moved rook h1 when he should have captured the knight. And this is what Lichess suggests. Capture this, c6 capture, h4, d7, and then rook f1, c5, g4, and then d8, and then e2, and then c6, g5, capture, and then capture. So that's what they suggested. But then they played a different, which reduces minus 0.4. So back d7 and captures knight, and then captures with the bishop. Knight to d4, f6, capture the bishop, and then pawn captures, g4, castle, g2, queen e7, and they're saying this is a blunder, but I don't know how is that a blunder.
Well,
But
it's question mark, exclamation mark, isn't it? So
yeah,
that's not quite a blunder. I think it normally means sort
mistake.
of double-edged.
No,
Or
no, it's not really
Previous.
a mistake.
He's obviously got to move the queen because he's threatening bishop h7 check, isn't it?
But that Lichess suggesting bishop, g5. I think they're saying attacking this pawn.
Oh, queen was on c7, was it?
C7 on it, yeah. Yeah.
you're right, that is what the computer's saying. Yes.
So then they suggest that, and then h1. Why? And then the capture.
Strange.
Yeah, strange. So then he captures queen, with the queen capturing the pawn. Rook c8, queen e4.
This looks very
And
dangerous.
then he moved. Huh?
Well, sorry, I shouldn't really. It just looks very dangerous with the rook hitting on the c3 and then maybe queen a3 in the air. I don't know.
But he had to stop the mate.
Well, I know that.
Yeah, looks like, yeah, it does look
So
like.
then they're saying this pawn move is a blunder. They say that they should have moved there, king, and then they suggest king f8, and then bishop c2, rook attacking this pawn, but there's no help with it really. Rook d3, and then rook to d8, capture, h3, and then queen c7, then a3, b8, h4, queen g3, and queen f4. That's what they suggested.
Their suggestions are both lengthy and difficult to follow, and difficult to actually compare with the inaccuracy comment.
Yeah, but they're really low on time. Like Eric Rosen has 56 seconds and he has
Yeah.
47.
Yeah, no, you're right. They're moving very quickly, so they're going to make inaccuracies. But even the inaccuracies that they make don't immediately jump out to me as that inaccurate. And the analysis that they show, which
Because
is,
probably they would make those moves that Lichess is saying probably in like rapid or classical.
yeah, it's Stockfish that's giving this analysis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with these sorts of positions, you're going to get the sort of best computer moves, as the
Yeah.
analysis suggested. There is one thing in this position that it's a sort of combination thing which crops up, and I don't know if it's going to work here. But White has to be I think White has to be careful, because if Black can play it, Bishop takes C3 as a threat.
Yeah.
Follow up Queen A3 and then possibly Rook C3 or Queen C3.
And then
So-
if
yeah.
they want to stop the attack, then he has to catch up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, no, I think White has to play a defensive move here, because I don't know if it's working, because I haven't had time to calculate everything. But it's the sort of thing you just have to be wary of with that structure.
yeah. So G6, and then
Yeah, I think, as I say, Rook F2 move defends against that threat. So.
Yeah. Rook F2 is a defense move, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, because you're helping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then this is like an inaccuracy. Rook B8.
Doesn't look like an inaccuracy to a simple view. It looks like it's a good move.
But maybe
I think it's trying to attack this and probably get some like queen or something. But this rook is helping.
inaccuracy. It means that another move appears more promising,
Right.
which isn't quite the same thing, is it?
Bishop H4 is a completely different plan.
Well, White's defending the second rank now anyway, isn't he?
Hmm. Now Sergey gets a bit more time now, like 12 seconds.
So Bishop takes C3. It still looks half of a threat now, doesn't
A
it?
good bet. Well, with the rook on F2, it does change the
C2 now. So
dynamic of it.
if rook F2's surely up.
I mean,
the rook can come to C2 now.
Yeah.
But if you do Bishop takes C3, pawn takes, rook takes, and then rook F2, then you've still got Queen A3, haven't you?
Yeah.
I might. Yeah.
I mean, it's not brilliant because the king can go to D2. I think the king escapes.
Yeah.
But it's still.
Well,
Yeah.
they must have.
Yeah, no, that's the escape. The rook C2 followed by king D2 looks like the escape, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
And then the next move, White plays. Is he moves his rook
Hold on. After bishop takes C3.
C3 bishop.
Hold on. Well, whose move was it? I can't.
Go back to 22 rook F2.
Rook F2.
Now we're considering
Take
bishop
C3.
C3.
Bishop's. Well, it was after bishop takes C3.
Can you play that on the board? Will it allow you to analyse it or not?
Yeah, I can.
Bishop
what?
C3.
Maybe you could take with the rook and
Bishop C3. And then you're saying White will capture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Queen A3 instead of rook takes C3.
Queen A3.
Then then you can't do
Because that
D.
rook on F2 is hanging.
But
Yeah.
then this is a good position, looks a bit.
Well, it's getting. Oh, it might be.
King
This
D2.
is this.
Oh, King D2, Queen A, Queen B.
Rook B2.
Oh yeah, King comes to E1 and protects that rook, doesn't it? That's why I couldn't. That's why I hadn't seen.
Capture.
Yeah, the king marches over
can
to
you
it.
do it the other way round? Can you take with the rook and then?
Wait. So you're saying if you take wait.
I don't know, but I just thought if the bishop was on C3, the king couldn't do the march.
So you're saying
We
he
have
wants to go there. So
Maybe
you're
the-
saying capture the pawn.
Yeah, maybe.
Try.
I just,
and then he captures.
No, maybe do queen.
no, queen a3.
Yeah, first. Now we've got the rook to come in if we want it.
Yeah.
See, we
Then why would they move the
Well, what? Hold on. What?
But if they move the rook, it's a stronger.
no, no,
defense.
no,
No,
no, no.
No,
Just
that's
take king d1.
King's got to move to d1.
And then probably they'll want to capture this.
having sacrificed so heavily.
Oh yeah, but this pawn is hanging, so they should do this. I mean, this bishop's hanging.
The bishop's got to take on c3 otherwise.
Oh,
Yeah, and then it all falls apart on.
Actually,
Yeah.
Or should this take? You're saying?
No.
it clearly is.
White's well defended with the white squares and with the rook on f2. I think he's just about got it all defended. So I think that's. It didn't look like it, but I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would accept that. Yes.
Looks like we got some. We have actually got some taking on c3 coming up in the game.
Ah, okay. Well, let's carry on then. Go back to the position.
Okay, this was a position.
Yeah.
So then he moves there, of course, and then he captures.
Oh, he
now
does.
Now he does.
Right.
Okay, then he captures with pawn. Rook captures, and then this Zerge. I mean, the computer said this was a blunder. So he moved there, and they're saying that he will capture that.
Ooh.
Oh, and then pin the queen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it would appear.
Yeah, so that is a blunder, king d1. So what should he play? Rook c2.
He should. Yeah. It says he should have played this one.
Oh, king d2. Well, why not rook b2 now? Oh no, the rook's hanging. Okay. Oh, blimey.
it's not actually, because if you play, if you say rook b2, check king c3, queen b4 is quite strong.
No, queen takes
Oh,
b4.
it's not, queen's on e4, ignore that.
Queen's on.
Yeah, yeah, it's covered. So that is okay. For
What was
white.
Tony's point? I didn't hear.
No, ignore
irrelevant.
I missed something.
Well, we can still tell you, James, what Tony's point was. Tony's point was if king takes c3.
No, if rook b2 check.
Rook b2 check, king takes c3, and queen b4 looked good. But
Yeah.
Missing queen
Yeah.
takes b4.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Missing
So
the fact what you can exchange queens.
No, you take the queen.
No, it just loses. So carry on.
So queen a3, they move, and then they're saying this was a blunder again. They should have done capture,
Yeah.
and then capture,
Yeah.
rook d8, c2, capture,
Hold on. Oh.
and then they're saying capture here,
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
and then they're saying queen f7, and then capture, rook a3, rook f6.
But who's winning this now?
Black, I say.
Equal.
But it's a draw at the end of the game, threefold repetition.
Oh, okay.
So then d3, g7, he captures that one. That's what they're saying. But
And
then
what
if
are
I
they
go,
saying? That was better for whom?
That was equal.
Oh, okay, it was equal, right?
yeah, and then they say
What did they put?
d2. But
That's
the
winning for
thing
white, it says.
the thing is, what about black moves queen there?
It's okay. King can escape to e2.
Yeah.
I think the point is Black's given up his bishop, and unless he can mate or win significant material, then he's going to lose.
Yeah, but the thing is that Zerge's got +2 bishop.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Black has given up his bishop, so unless Black's got a mate coming up, then he's in trouble, and he doesn't have it now because the king can escape.
Yeah.
So we. Okay.
Yeah. So then Black plays rook d8. They're now threatening capture, and then he captures. Rook
Oh, the taste of his
f7.
own medicine.
and then queen c1, e2, queen d2.
Ah,
Ooh.
It says
What's
plus
that- what-
7.6.
what's going on?
I
Take
don't know.
queen.
White was guessing
blunder.
mates. He's got a
Oh
second
yeah, but
queen.
look, white is trying to go there and
It's
then
a desperado.
there and then
Right,
there.
right.
That's what probably they're trying to do.
But black is white. It's white to move. He can just take the queen now.
Yeah, rook takes bishop and he's
Yeah, but then
What?
so wait, sorry. They go
Ah,
queen d3 then, and then capture,
that's what happened.
capture. So they get equal
Ah.
position.
Wow.
So then they try. They want to draw because they don't have anything else to do. So then d4, f6, h4, e5, d5, h5, g5, check, f5, and then they're saying this is a blunder because they should have moved. Zerga should have moved there, and he moved e4.
Oh,
So
yeah,
then he moves there.
no,
So-
you. What? Don't you go to f4?
Here,
To guard your pawn, and then you've got Zugzwang in a couple of moves.
you can't go where f4.
Yeah,
let's see there.
that's
The
it. You've
H
got
pawn.
it
So who gets
But then what else will he play? He'll make it a draw. Like it's
No,
not.
black can't go to
yeah.
f4.
now. Yeah, no, you can't. You're right. Yeah, yeah.
So if I go back here,
Oh,
check
right.
then,
Position.
and then e6, but he can just capture that pawn. Captures f6,
That's
Oh.
lost, isn't it?
f4,
It looks it, but
captures.
white's got time.
He did black. I mean, black has got 5.4 seconds. He's got 3.5. So they're probably like pre-moving or something.
They're moving extremely quick. There's an increment of 2 seconds, so they're literally just banging the moves.
No,
out.
but if you berserk, you don't get increment. When you berserk, you just get 1 minute 30, and then it goes like, if you make the move, it'll just stay on that time clock.
Oh, you don't get the 2 second increment?
No, if you berserk, then you won't get.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right, I'm with you now. Yeah.
Dessert, you kind of give up. You choose to give up your right to an increment. I think.
Yeah.
I understand it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
No,
I've never done that, but I know what you mean.
Yeah,
now.
me too. I was like, what is this sign? And then
Yeah.
I knew it then.
Might be worth explaining that at the end because I'm not that familiar with it. But what happened then? So
So it's like it's coming to a draw-ish.
yeah,
So then e4, he's trying to go a queen. He captures, so then he has a. He
yeah.
can just go there. e3, g6. Wait, what? How did I get so far? Sorry. I go there. It's e2, g7, and then queen,
Ooh.
and then check.
Oh, this
I'm
is
surprised that's not winning
H6.
for black because black's got the initiative, but it obviously isn't.
h6, and then queen e3.
Oh,
Oh, that's a funny move.
Because it like he has to
He's
cream.
defending the pawn.
Yeah, probably.
It's a mistake.
it's a mouse
And
slip.
then
Could be.
and then they're saying this is a checkmate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he makes a blunder. He
Oh,
goes
he does.
g6 because he's probably
Oh.
he was pre-moving.
This pre-moving is changing the whole dimension, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you just go like boom,
Well, you
boom,
didn't expect queen
then
e3,
you can yeah.
so therefore, what you would expect some other move, and so queen g6 would have been all right, but of course you missed the chance to win.
So then they still have some time left, and they go f5,
This is
and
not
then
chess, though, is it?
No.
not
Grab the pawn now.
g6, and then f4, check, g5, and then they're saying they should check again, but then queen e4. So then this is a mistake. The king g7. So they said they should have done moving this pawn.
Mhm.
So then h6 is an inaccuracy. Because then if he captures, you can just start pushing this.
Yeah.
And then e3. Wait, what? Wait, e3, h5, f3, and h6. They wanted to make a draw because they have 0 and then
Yeah.
2 milliseconds.
It's strange because you think White would just
someone said
exchange
this
queens.
is just ridiculous.
White should have just exchanged queens, and then he's got a pawn that runs. But
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
not-
they're moving so quick.
It's not
Yeah.
chess, is it? You're not.
No, the last 10
It's
or
interesting.
20 moves.
There's a very interesting point at the end. I can remember one of the talks which Nigel Pover gave on endgames. He covered these double rooks pawn endings in some detail. And I think he sort of showed if you get a position like this with the pawn on would be on a4 and a5, there's a very, very simple rule as to whether or not White wins or the game's drawn. However, I can't remember what that rule is. But if you know it, it helps you to actually know whether or not you can trade off in those positions.
Yeah, I think this is in Hawkins' book.
Yeah.
In
Isn't it a square rule or something?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to present.
That's very good. Thank you for showing that. I think it was. I mean, I'm just thinking back to the beginning of the game, which feels like a long way back now because we played.
Because they ended on move like 54.
Yeah. And the last
Yeah.
15 to 20 moves, to be honest, was just so fast, and they were both making mistakes. And anyone looking at it for more than a few seconds, I think could improve on it and see what was going on. But yeah, no, it was an interesting game. I mean, it's the first time I think we've had anybody show a game that is so fast in its time control, which is interesting.
Yeah, because he's really if you go on his profile, Sergey's the one who was white. He's like he's a champion like on Lichess. He's like king of the hill champion.
So he's played 18,000 ultra bullet games and 49,000 bullet. I've forgotten what ultra bullet means. Can you?
Ultra bullet is like 15 seconds.
Oh,
what?
I mean-
start with 15 seconds.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. And then
mean-
he's really good in rapid, like he's the second.
and what rapid time do they normally play?
He usually plays 8+0. Like if you see his highest rating,
Right.
8+0.
Right, because to me, rapid is for example what we're going to play on Saturday, which is 20 plus 5.
But on Lichess, that's called classical. He doesn't play classical.
Right. So rapid's more like 5 or 10 minutes normally. But
Well, 5 to 10 minutes blitz-ish.
okay.
What's
I mean,
crazy?
there are
What's-
definitions for all these things, but I understand they're not the same on chess.com, Lichess and FIDE, which is very confusing.
What's Crazy House?
That's a different type of chess, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
that
and then
what-
International Master Eric, if I go on his, he plays classical. So he plays ultra. He doesn't play it much. He plays a bit of bullet. He plays
bit.
blitz. And then he plays a few rapids. And then he didn't play much of classical. Yeah.
Correspondence.
Watched quite a few of Eric Rosen's videos on his YouTube channel, and he's
Yeah,
actually
he's good.
he's well worth watching. He's also done some lectures for the St. Louis Chess Club,
Okay.
Yeah.
and there's a couple that he's done on the sort of London system and on sort of games you should know, and in the Roy Lopez that are well worth watching. So
Okay.
Is he American?
Yeah, he's from USA, it says, United States, St. Louis.
And St. Louis as well, as you said, Tony. So, I mean, the St. Louis Chess Club with, I've forgotten the name of the guy who's funding it all. That's extremely prominent now, isn't it?
Sinkfield.
Yeah, yeah,
Rex Sinkfield.
Rex Singfield, isn't it?
that's
He
right.
played
yeah.
in this was a recent tournament. It was like streamers battle, and then Sergey came first, and then these are other GMs and titled people.
So they're playing how many games?
So like they have teams. So like
Yeah.
there's Zhigalko, Sergey, and friends. So
Right.
it's like 40,000 people in that club because he's such a good chess player. And then there's international master Eric Rosen fan club.
So how many games do they play in that battle September 22, for example?
Well, it's 2 hours, so they can play as much games. But everyone played altogether 9,164.
Whoa. Okay.
I think with these arena events, you want to basically be winning as games as quickly as possible.
Like as a team, Sergey's scored 1,128 tournament points because you can get like free. He berserk. He zerked every game.
It's a bit like an arena on a smaller scale because arena, if you keep winning, you get more and more points than just the points you would normally get for a win, don't you?
Yeah.
So there's some system that does that. Okay. I mean, I must admit, 3+2 is extremely fast, but
yeah,
it's not so much fast at the beginning. It's when you get to the end game. I mean, never mind the berserk, which we haven't covered, but 2 seconds is not really enough time for me to have a quick think for a second.
Yeah, I would say I'd say +10 seconds.
Yeah,
that would be a bit
okay.
better.
I could play +10 because at least I could have a little think and move, but +2. Just remind us what berserk is then.
So like, let me show you. Let me go on what game he played.
Double the points.
Yeah, like let's say it's 3 minutes. Let's say Grandmaster PUBG. So he zerked here. So what you mean by zerk? So 3 minutes. So there you see 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then 1 minute 30. So they get half the time. Then they're saying Lichess saying this is the time control, and they give the option to zerk. So let's say it's a really easy player. Let's say you're playing against a 700 and you're like a 2,300.
Yeah.
And it's like 3+10. You can zerk.
And so when you zerk, you get half the time.
Yeah.
And what else?
And you won't get the increment. You won't get, let's say 3+10. You'll just get 1 minute 30 seconds on its own.
So what's the benefit? I'm still quite
Okay, the benefit is, so let's say you don't zerk and you win the game, you get 2 points only.
Right.
And then if you zerk, you get 3 points.
Right.
And let's say you won the game 5 times and you didn't zerk, you get 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4.
Right. Right.
And then if you zerk, you get 3, 3, 5, 5, 5.
Right. Are you following this, Sandy? It's very interesting. I mean, you've explained it actually better than I haven't really looked closely, but I've noticed this and realised it was different and realised there was an advantage in having less time because you got more points. But you've explained it and illustrated it very well. So I mean, for the old classic chess players used to playing, at 90 moves in an hour and a half, or the whole game in an hour and a half, or maybe the whole game in 80 minutes with 10 seconds, which is where most chess club members playing over the board have come from, even as recently as a few years ago. This online environment with such a wide range of different time periods, and then these extra things laid over the top is mind-blowing. And to see that there are top players with 2,700-ish online Lichess ratings doing this stuff in thousands of games is quite mind-blowing. I mean,
like Sergey's been playing since, if I go on his thing, he's been playing since 2018 on Lichess. But I bet he's got more practice. I bet. He can't. He should have. If he was before, if he came in 4 or 5 years that quickly.
Yeah.
It's just.
And the other thing, as you're illustrating here, without actually explaining it, is that the tools that are now available. I mean, you move your mouse across that graph and stop it somewhere on the graph. Go down to the graph a moment, if you wouldn't mind, with your mouse moving. Yeah, I was going to say, as you were moving the graph, it was not only showing bullet, it was showing all of them with the ratings of all of them.
Yeah, like if you go on this first page, you can like press
Yeah,
if you
that's
see
it,
how
that's it.
many, if
Yeah.
it goes, what's his
You just-
rating, if it's going better or
Yeah,
worse.
just stop a moment in the middle there. That's it. So you can
Here.
see by day what his rating is for all these types of things that he's playing, which is just absolutely phenomenal, really. That there's all this data that's just sitting there and building up. So I mean, you know, we're as I mentioned, you know, most club players who've played online for perhaps many years have moved into the online environment in the last few years, but people like you, Aditya, have played a lot of online, and I don't know how much over the board chess you've played. Probably
Yeah,
not.
I play low, like I play against my dad loads of the time.
Sure,
And
but how long have you played over the board, apart from with your dad?
I played one. Well, I don't really play
Right.
with the
Yeah.
board because I don't have anyone else who knows how to play chess.
So that's great. So hopefully you'll come down to the club from next Thursday, and we can all play in teams and play over the ball. But this is the
Be there on Saturday, Martin.
Oh yeah, you're
watch
playing
out
on
for,
Saturday.
watch out for his fast play on Saturday.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah, we really look forward to seeing on Saturday.
And you're getting 5, you might be in trouble.
I'm already concerned about my game against you because I'll be playing.
What's your favourite time limit, Aditya?
My favorite time limit.
Do you like,
I usually play rapid.
Yeah.
Like not 8+0. I played like 15+10.
15
Okay.
plus 10.
So Saturday's
So
event.
20 plus 5 on Saturday. You should be quite used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to remember to press the clock.
Okay. I've never like done like. Do you have to hit the clock thing?
Just press it. You don't have to hit it.
Show it before we start on Saturday. I'll show
Well,
you.
like when I've like watched a YouTube video and then I was seeing like a grandmaster playing against the grandmaster, and then I hear there's like this weigher thing on the clock, and then they hit that, and then it weighs on that side.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
So
that's it.
That's another. This is another example of, because you've been playing predominantly online. I mean, you know, exclusively online, really. When you move online, the computer system does the clock for you. But obviously, when you play over the board, you've got to make your move, press the clock, and you're not going to be used to that. So you just need to remember. Interesting.
And you have to press
well before 11 o'clock, and we'll show you how the clocks work.
And you have to press. You have to press the clock with the same hand you move the piece with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very well worth mentioning. Thank you, Philip, because a lot of players. I mean, we saw that on Sunday at Pine Ridge. We had a few people playing, and if you imagine it, they make the move and then press the clock.
Yeah,
press the clock, and that's not allowed, because of course you can make the move and press the clock almost the same time, or even press the clock before making a move, which is you've got to make the move and with the same hand press the clock. Either hand, but the same.
People who do it who've never played over the board before. Yeah.
Oh, it's fascinating, and thank you for showing us that game, and also for, I think, exposing many of us to a fast game.
Different world.
and yeah, a bit of a different world in online chess, which I think is very important. I mean, this season, Camberley Chess Club will enter its first team in rapid play. Although we've played, there's been tournaments, there's been trophies with rapid play, the occasional games. Well, we're going to do a rapid play league, which is only, what's the rapid play? 20 plus 5, I guess, isn't it?
20 plus 10.
20 plus 10. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I play that as classical sometimes.
Right.
Like
So
there's like tournament on Lichess called Weekly Classical.
Right.
And it's 20 plus 10.
Right, so we're going to do that for the first time only this season against local clubs, where we'll play two games against the same opponent, one white, one black, and then tot up the scores. Is it? I think is it 5 boards per 4?
4 boards.
It's only 4 at the moment. It might increase, but so 4. So you know,
an experiment.
yeah, anything from 8-0 one way to the other way could be the result of the match. But yeah, this is enlightening to see how much very, very fast chess there is.
Yeah, he's played for so long. He's played like 137 days, 9 hours and 14 minutes.
So I'm the captain this season of the Camberley Rapid Play team. So if you want to play in the Rapid team, this goes for everyone, but especially Aditya, the way he's talking about this. If you want to play in the Rapid Play team, you can either impress me or bribe me, and then you get nothing.
Also, Martin, over
Yes.
the board, there's another thing you need to remember, is if you castle, you have to move the king first before the rook. You touch the rook first,
Yeah.
someone could say you've got to move the rook and you can't castle.
Is that not the case in normal chess?
Same online, isn't it?
Any chess?
Well, online you have to move your king first, because if you do,
Yeah.
like, if you
Yeah.
move your rook, it won't work.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that apply, Philip, in normal classical over the board chess as well as fast chess? You've got to move the king. You can't
Yeah,
move your
well-
rook first. Yeah.
You have to, mind you, I don't know what happens if you touch the rook, the
Well,
castle.
then you've got to.
Yeah,
then
I
you've got to
don't.
play.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, the rook can move, can't it? If you can castle.
Yeah, if you move the rook and let go of it, then you've moved, haven't you?
Yeah, you can't castle.
So what I've seen some people do, especially juniors, when they come along and play sometimes, is they pick both up together and move them together.
No,
And
touch
I
the
don't think
king.
that's allowed either, because you really have got to move the king first
Yeah.
and then put the rook the other side of it. And that's kind of that's how I learnt to castle. King moves 2 squares and then the rook goes the other side of it. And I think that's quite a good way to think of it.
Mm.
Got someone who's been a bit pernickety, they say you moved the rooks, you can't castle.
Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, it's possible, isn't it? Yeah.
It won't work online if you try to do that, but
What happens if you pick up the king to castle and then realise you're castling through check? Do you have to move the king if it's possible?
well, you can't if it's check. You can't, and then you want to castle.
No,
Could
I think,
work.
Right, the answer to your question, Martin, is yes, you have to move your king.
I think you do, because you've touched your king.
You touched it and it's got a legal move. you have to make.
If there's a legal move to move, you have to do it. Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, thank you again, Aditya. That was good. And I
Yeah,
look
very
forward
good. Thank you very much.
to seeing you on Saturday.